gentlemen, be a rosebud!
Behold! The power of magnetism! What would your finishing maneuver be called?
The circumcision.
Follow the buzzards!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you the wrestling news of the week all over WWE, TNA and the independent scene. My name is Turbo Tony and we're here with the man who says, "Hello ladies, it's Matt Venus."
Dude, I don't think I was even... it's like I remember Val Venus, but it's like... I don't know, even then I was just like, I don't understand what ladies are for at that point.
Tell me, Matt, are you sitting and recording this with a towel around your waist and nothing else?
There is a towel.
There is a towel. And we'll leave it there before we fall into a shameless pay-per-view plot. I think that's probably for the best. How are you doing this week, Matt?
Yeah, I can't really complain. On the mend. So
on the mend. Yeah, people don't know that you're a little bit under the weather, are you not? But you're recovering.
The drugs are helping.
The drugs are helping. One thing though that will make you feel a lot better is that every single time that I look at the stats about the podcast, you guys are doing amazing at supporting us, and we're getting roughly about 80 listens every single episode, which is really awesome. We really appreciate all the support that you guys are getting, and we had an explosion of subscribers this week. We've got more this week, I think, than we have any other week. So either we had a really kick-ass podcast last week, or maybe people are just getting word of mouth a little bit more. But regardless, that'll be awesome. One way you can continue to support us, though, Matt, and you know this as well, you can follow us on Twitter at TalkWrestlePod. I'll put a link to that on the video and also in the description there as well. Catch that. The stuff that you share on there, Matt, is fantastic. You shared like the 5 WCW matches that should never have happened.
Oh, that was shocking, wasn't it?
What was it? The monster truck battle between Hulk Hogan and Big Show, and
for a start,
just the tip of the iceberg.
Just like that big old death match, just to electrify you. It's like what?
Vince Russo. Anyway, not just him. There was a lot of other really bad bookers during that time. So catch all those little shenanigans on Twitter, and also if you want to ask us any questions to be featured on the podcast, then the Twitter is the best and most effective way to do that. You'll get a response much quicker than you will commenting here, but you know, if you like commenting here, you can do that as well. You know, listen, you can do it either way. You've got options, people, options. So we've got a big packed show for you this week. Last week, me and Matt went off the show saying, "Oh, there must be more than 2 weeks until the next pay-per-view." We were dreadfully wrong.
Yeah.
It's this weekend, so we'll be doing our predictions on this show. Whoopsie! We just thought, man, every now and then WWE, because they do 13 pay-per-views a year, they do one that's just really sort of like cuts into the month, and this is obviously that one. So they're going to have a usual gap between Battleground and SummerSlam. But Battleground is this weekend. We've got our predictions, and obviously it's the go-home show, so it's quite an interesting Raw to be reviewing this week. We've also got TNA and the news of the week in terms of the wrestling. So we've got a lot of stuff along those lines to get through. A lot of audio goodness for you guys to receive. But let's get this started, Matt. There's some big news this week. I don't know, a lot of these guys must have heard by now. But CM Punk has been officially moved to the alumni section. Now, you may think that's nothing. Well, he hasn't been on there for a long time. It was roughly this time of the year that his contract was due to expire, and I believe it has. There's been no exact stuff that's obviously come out about it, but I firmly believe that his contract has expired, and the guy's gone. He's just in his no-compete clause. He can't say much bad against the company. It was a little bit of a shock because obviously on this Raw there was a lot to do with CM Punk. You know, with AJ coming back, there was a CM Punk documentary that was being promoted. You know, on the network. Yeah. So it looked like, you know, to the naked eye that things were looking good. Apparently, it could be it couldn't be more the opposite. Apparently, things with CM Punk and WWE have an all-time low. Especially with him leaving now.
It's hit a real bad point.
Yeah, we said this is going to happen. We said he's either going to start wrestling soon. This was back in at the beginning of the year when all this stuff happened, or he's not going to come back at all. And this is what's happened. He wasn't going to come back with a couple of months left on his contract. If it got to this point, I saw there being no return. And that is that case. Now some are still clinging to it. They're saying it's all an elaborate ploy, Matt. They're saying it's a ploy. that he could come back.
A trick and a ruse.
It's all the ultimate trick. He played it on us before, and he's going to do it again. No, I firmly believe that you won't. I wouldn't 100% rule it out. Of course, it's wrestling. You know, these things. There's stranger things.
And a guy who's been known to sort of just keep on the toes, sort of thing.
Yeah. This is be something right up his alley, but I heavily. I think it's heavily unlikely. I don't think he's coming back. JR actually said on his podcast leading up to the week, which I thought was quite interesting, that he would love to commentate a New Japan Pro Wrestling iPay-per-view with CM Punk, which I thought was a little bit telling, you know, that maybe they've spoken, you know, and they think that he's leaving. And JR's always said that he thinks that he's going to come back, but obviously that hasn't happened. I'd buy into a CM Punk JR commentated New Japan Pro Wrestling event. That would be very, very good, but whether or not that's going to happen is still in the early stages. He just made a fleeting
Punk
mention.
Commentary is just gold.
Yeah, and along with him with JR with some really good world-class wrestling that you get in New Japan, it's a match made in heaven. But like we said, it was just a fleeting comment. Let's not get overexcited about the prospect of that. But yeah, it looks like CM Punk is gone. And I wouldn't put it fully out of the realm that he may come back at a later date, maybe sign a new contract after even more of a hiatus, so to speak. But so far at the moment, it just seems like this isn't where it's going to be going, and CM Punk is no longer with the company. That's my firm belief. There's been no official statement by WWE. I don't think they will make a statement in regards to this. They're just going to let it blow over. That way, it lessens the blow, shall we say? And it'd be very interesting seeing what CM Punk does after his no compete clause in his contract and everything like that's gone off. He may not have that, of course. I mean, after all, his contract expired. He wasn't released, so he could go now. I think. Looking at the logistics of it, I'm pretty sure that's the way it works.
I would imagine that's how it would work out.
Yeah. If your contract expires, I don't think there's a no compete clause after a contract expiring, but still. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on this going forward and tell you any more. And who knows? He may show up on the road to SummerSlam, but I very much doubt it. I think he's gone, and that's the goodbye, Mr. Punk, shall we say?
Kind of a sad truth.
It is. Yeah. Listen, we've always said before that we didn't like the unprofessionalism of it all. That he basically walked out while he was in contract. We never said that we didn't like the guy. We just didn't like the fact he did that. We're big fans of CM Punk. We love to see him wrestle. His mic work is fantastic. He's an all-round fantastic wrestler. Just sad it had to come to this, really. Yeah. I mean, I think one person did say it quite well that he got really annoyed, obviously, and left the company because he wasn't being booked in a main event status. But he was the longest reigning champion in the last 10 years. You look at all the other stuff that he's done. He hasn't been booked badly, you know, in that sense.
I say, it's like, oh, didn't I get a main event, dude?
Yeah, and he had a WrestleMania match. Do you want to be
Cena?
Yeah. I think he was fine where he was, honestly. But some people just aren't content. And I guess CM Punk is one of those people. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just a trait of his personality. The cult of personality, some would say.
Yeah.
This is an interesting fact. Cena will not feature on Raw next week. He's been pulled from Raw. Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen why.
Well, I know why. He's actually filming a movie. He's on the set that week when he's actually going to be doing that movie. A movie called Trainwreck, I believe. I almost got that. Trainwreck, I almost said. Wazzle.
Like the film probably will be.
Probably will be, yeah, that's it. It's... I don't expect to be anything special. And I don't know if he's going to be in like a huge capacity, but he's definitely filming that day. So that's an interesting thing. The thing that's really interesting about this, right, is that if that is the case, then that kind of slows down the Cena-Lesnar program that everyone said was set in stone leading up to SummerSlam. Cena was going to win this weekend, he was going to go to SummerSlam, and he was going to get beaten by Lesnar, and that's how things were going to run. But having a week out of that program where Lesnar can't actually feud with Cena is a little bit interesting. And there has been statements saying, we're going to go into talk this more into our predictions, that they may be ready to pull the trigger on Reigns. They might want to put the belt on him now, which is interesting considering Cena will not be on Raw. But regardless, I we'll obviously talk about predictions and what I think about that later, but it's interesting he's not going to be on that Raw. It throws a little bit of a spanner into the works of an ideal prediction in regards to Cena winning. So, interesting stuff there. But yeah, you have no interest in going to see this movie when it's released or anything along those lines?
I have no interest in seeing a lot of WWE films. It's like, I'm the Marine, damn it. Yeah, you'll film us straight to
The Marine made The Miz a star, damn you. Yeah.
Money maker. A straight to DVD film.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And it's the Marine 4 because it's been that shit. They had to keep trying again and again.
I did actually see the last one he did. Was it the Marine 3 that he did? It wasn't a half bad film, I have to say, but it certainly wasn't cinema worthy. It wasn't cinema worthy. I'll just say that. It was very.
I've seen the first. I've seen some of the second.
Oh, and that was enough, huh?
Yeah. So I think Behind Enemy Lines Columbia just tainted me for WWE action films.
Yeah. Oh well. The funny thing about WWE, the more that they feature movies with their wrestlers on it, the more they do bad. But when they don't feature their wrestlers in movies, they've actually been doing okay. They did that. The Call.
No, it wasn't Condemned.
No, Condemned was like one of the first ones they did. But you know the Call that they had with Halle Berry, that was very widely well received. And the new one
that was a WWE film, yeah.
Yeah, and Oculus, which was a WWE film, which had I believe no WWE wrestlers in it, was hugely popular. Well, not popular. It wasn't like a huge film or anything, but it got really good ratings. Which you look at it next to films like The Chaperone, and you wonder what the fuck were they thinking. So interesting on that anyway. But moving on, this is something that irks me a little bit. More so than the CM Punk stuff. You can say, oh, CM Punk's been really dogged over, that's why he left the company. That's up for debate, yeah? This isn't. I'm really, really disappointed in WWE here. This is something that you'd think that TNA have done, and I know they have annoyed their production crew before, but you very rarely hear of WWE really shafting their production crew, which is what they've done. Now, here's the story. I don't know if you saw this during the week, Matt. But budget cuts, as we know, have hit WWE hard. Vince went from being a billionaire to a millionaire overnight, and obviously, you know, that doesn't just hurt his pocket, that's hurting everyone else's pocket as well. There's been a lot of releases, but one thing that they've done is that they've cut a lot of costs, and one of the things that they've done is that they've removed a bus that used to ferry the production crew between towns. So what would happen is that you'd have a show overnight, the production crew would take it down, and there would be early hours of the morning they would be taking this thing down. Then the bus would allow them to sleep while they're being driven, obviously, to the next area, because they don't get that much sleep, and they have to set it all up again in the morning. So they don't get that much sleep, and it's literally bang, 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 bang. They've got to be going really, really quick.
Yeah.
You'd think the whole thing of that is that bus is very, very integral. Without giving these guys a good amount of sleep and rest and be able to rest their bones, I mean, it's hard stuff getting this production stuff all working and in time. WWE have cut that bus, so now all those production crew now have to sleep, obviously, you know, dismantle the set early hours of the morning. Then they have to get in their cars and drive to where they need to go, get probably maybe 1 or 2 hours sleep rather than 4 or 5, and then do it all again. Does that sound at all right? That is frustrating. I think that's really, really stupid. I don't know about you, Matt, but I think
I kind of disagree with it. I mean, so you're sort of thinking, like, we've put down like a smaller ring, nothing of the size of sort of like the full 2020 WWE, but
it's not even that. That's the set as well, isn't it? It takes the most time.
The whole, the whole shebang. And yeah, I just think it's just crazy because it's just like, oh, good job. Now get in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
And drive. So.
I firmly believe that any job that doesn't require you to have a decent amount of sleep is something that should be looked at in terms of laws. I don't think any business should allow their workers to be put in a situation where they're not getting a good amount of sleep each day, and obviously that's working themselves. Yeah. I think this is fucking ridiculous. I really do. I think that these guys are obviously, like, some people may say, oh, it's the wrestlers that get put on the show. To a degree they are, but they can't wrestle without a ring and set. Their WWE show would look horrific if it wasn't for these guys, and I firmly believe that they keep this up and they're going to have a strike on their hands. And if they do,
it's the amount that they, the video package though I mentioned a few weeks back, and they posted recently. There's nothing without you, and it's like all these TV trucks and all these, lighting rigs and all that lot, and there's just like everything. It's just like, and now we're going to dick over all of the people that fit that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I would say WWE are playing it so risky. Yeah, like, it's one thing to have a wrestler. You can do that with a wrestler, right? Because a wrestler, especially with WWE, right, is that if you're in WWE, you're going to be making the most money. Any other company isn't going to be able to pay you as much as WWE can, so they can throw their weight around. With a production crew, you annoy them, they ain't going to work, and then you won't have a show. That's how easy it is.
Yeah.
One wrestler strikes, like CM Punk, he goes away fine. The show ticks along. That's okay. If you get even a handful of these guys that decide they're going to go on strike, you're in serious problems. You really, really are. And like I said, if they decide, like, in a couple of months' time they've had too much, they're going to strike, I'll fully support them, even if it means they're missing out on a week of Raw. I really do.
Yeah, completely.
I think that's ridiculous. I really do, and I think that I firmly believe WWE, if management have any sort of head on their shoulders, they will reconsider this immediately and give these guys what they deserve. Allow them to do their job in a very safe environment. It's only going to take one accident of one of these guys being too fatigued to know what he's doing, maybe fall asleep on the job or just make a mistake, and we're going to have someone get seriously hurt because that sort of thing happens. So yeah, frustrated. That irked me a little bit because you hear a lot of that. Ultimate Warrior said it on his for Hall of Fame speech that there should be a wing of the Hall of Fame made for these people that actually put the sets up, that do all the merchandise,
do the show, that are behind the show.
Yeah, that are the cogs that never get any of the support and never get any of the adoration that the wrestlers get, any of the acknowledgement, I think is probably the best word, for all the stuff that they do. There should be wings and of the Hall of Fame dedicated to people like that. And I know there's a few people. Austin's always taught. I can't think of his name now, which is a bit of a shame. But there was a guy that always did the merchandise, the TV, the t-shirts and stuff. And Austin said then is that he worked a lot with him to try and get a t-shirt that would work for him during his rise. And that guy worked in a company for the better part of 15 years doing all that stuff. And yet he was never really acknowledged by the company when the time came for it. It's a massive shame.
I know who you're thinking of, because they were discussing like the birth of his 316 sort of Flame of Skull t-shirt, weren't they?
Yeah, it was a podcast that you did. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking along the lines that they need to get recognition from Undertaker because the skulls were his sort of thing, and all that lot. But yeah, it is a bit of a shame, really is. And I think this will come back to bite him on the arse, and I will fully support them when I fully support the production crew if they decide to do that. I would always do that because they do a grand job every time. They've never had a job. You never hear stories of the production crew not getting there on time or doing their job correctly. They always do it perfectly. So, and they should be acknowledged for that. So that's our news for the week. There is other news. Obviously, there was more news. We know that, but a lot of it can be referenced on the Raw episodes. So that's where we do it there. The big news story of the week involves a certain WCW legend, but obviously we're going to talk about that when his segment aired on Raw. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. TNA review. TNA. I'm not going to focus too much on TNA this week because, to be honest, it's TNA's doing okay. They're doing some good stuff, but their shows are just ticking along, which is fine for them.
Still ticking over.
Yeah, they're doing okay, and I think that's the best place for them at the moment. They're doing some good wrestling. They're fixing a lot of the issues. And I think that's a positive thing, and I like to keep things going positive with TNA. So, a few of the things here. I did say in the last week that they're getting rid of Willow, and this was pretty much the show that essentially got rid of him. Kurt Angle, who's the new man in charge, comes out and he says to Willow, come out, I need to talk to you. So obviously Willow comes out with his umbrella and, making the really odd noises that he decides to make.
Yep.
And Angle says to him, I as much as I like Willow, I need Jeff Hardy to come back. Now, doesn't mean the end of Willow. Willow can come back whenever he wants, but I need Jeff Hardy back tonight to have a battle royal, which I think WWE and TNA need to come to a collective decision to ease the hell off of battle royals recently, because getting excessive.
We don't need so many.
We really don't. So there's that. That's the opening segment, and it looks like Willow agrees, and they're teasing it all the way through. You're finding Willow's mask, a lot of his gear just littered around the place. Obviously not on him, so more teasing that he's going to come back. The theme of the show was that it was a championship extravaganza, so all the titles were on the line. The only real title match really to talk about, though, was Sonata against Austin Aries. Sonata, as you know, Matt, he's the import from Wrestle One. Very, very good wrestler. Just he hasn't shown much since he joined TNA what he's worth, since he came over. But in this match, it reminded me of their match that they had, funny enough, that they aired last week, of where Sonata won the belt from Aries, but this time it's the other way around. Austin Aries wins, he gets the X Division title back, which makes sense as Sonata's probably going to be going back to Japan very soon. Now he's raised his awareness in America. Brilliant match, probably the best of the week, I would say, between Sonata and Aries. Really, really good stuff. It's a shame that Sonata, who obviously is a good wrestler, just hasn't been able to shine as much when he's been put in these multi-man matches and stuff along those lines. You know, it's I was eating all that multi-company stuff, back when they're in Japan, seeing all these really talented Japanese wrestlers go against the Americans, and it was really good wrestling. One of the best events I've seen in a while. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that we haven't been able to see Sonata shine as much as he should have, really. Yeah, just kind of kicking off to the end of the show. Hardy won the Battle Royal, he did come back. So he wins the Battle Royal, he's now the number one contender. So he'll be facing Lashley for the title soon, I imagine. So I don't think they're going to do that.
So whenever their next pay-per-view is, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, they're only on four pay-per-views, and they're reaching one of them very soon, which is Bound for Glory, I think. No, it's not.
They on 4? Yeah, they do.
They have 4, and they have a lot of themed impacts, so
Yeah.
they make up for that. But
They got because you got Bound for Glory, Slammiversary.
they just had Slammiversary, so yeah. Bound for Glory, Slammiversary. I think Sacrifice is one of them. Oh no, I don't know. Don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's essentially what your new rivalry is. I firmly believe that they were going to put Bobby Roode. It seemed tailor-made for Bobby Roode to be the guy that was going to take over, and it made sense, but it looks like they're going to go back to Jeff Hardy now. And he isn't nearly, obviously, as annoying when he's Jeff Hardy than when he's Willow, and I'm glad that they decided to take that gimmick away from him. I'm sure that Hardy wanted to make it work, it just didn't. And it was the same time that
take it away from him before it actually did any sort of permanent damage.
Yeah. The appeal is still there for Jeff Hardy, so at least they managed to take this away before we started just not wanting to see Jeff Hardy in general, rather whether he's Willow or not. So, and hopefully they don't bring Willow back anytime soon. That's a gimmick I do not need to see. So there's Impact. It was worth watching, I will say, especially for that Austin Aries Sonata match, and there was a lot less of the BS talking segments on this show. I think I was listening to a JR podcast on his Ross Report podcast that he does for Podcast One. Mm-hmm. And he made a very apt statement, which I agreed with. I don't agree with everything that JR says, but I do agree with some of the stuff. More often than not, I agree with what he says. And one of the things he said that a guy's working all day. He comes back from listening to a lot of talking, a lot of this other stuff. He wants to wind down. The last thing he wants to do when he gets home was watch more people talking in the ring, and making things more complicated in his life. He needs to watch action, which is what Total Knockout action should be. So at least they're getting back to that a little bit. Still not perfect. The show still has some negatives to it, but you know what? So does WWE, and I won't point negatives out unless there's a good reason to do so, especially when there's other positives on the show. So the show in a whole is okay. It's watchable. It's fine. I say watchable as if it'll burn my eyes out on some weeks. You honestly didn't catch those 4 weeks where Eric Young was champion, and I swear to you, do not do it. It's horrendous.
The fact that there was such a massive thing, it's like EY's finally champion, right? And as you described it was probably like the worst week in TNA wrestling ever.
It was the worst. It was the worst month in TNA that I've seen. Now, I haven't been seeing for a long, but the consensus is that it was the worst it's been for a very, very long time. And while Eric Young wasn't directly part of the issues that were involved with that, because you're champion at that time, it gets labelled on you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I feel for the guy, I really do, because I don't think TNA are going to give him the belt again, because it comes with a certain stigma now. People will be reminded of that really bad month. But regardless, they're out of that month now. I should stop really referencing it because they are doing okay now, so it's okay. And hopefully they stick to rising up rather than going back to that absolute abysmal couple of weeks. Anyway, people come here for our Raw review. We review every segment of Raw, and quite an interesting one here. As we said, it was the go-home show for Battleground. We didn't realise this.
Yeah, without thinking about it, it just came upon us.
So it's this weekend, tomorrow, in fact, at the pay-per-view. Well, obviously for you guys, it will be today. So there you are. It'll be on that show. The card itself was actually looking pretty decent, I must say. The problem is, when I look at it, I think a lot of these matches should be on a bigger show, i.e. SummerSlam, but we'll see where that goes from there. So, Richmond, Virginia was where Raw emanated from this week. One thing I will say, I made a lot of notes throughout all this, and I was going to make a reference to the fact that every single time that WWE decided to plug the network. But the little tidbit of information here is that at the end of the month, WWE will have a shareholder call, a public call, where they need and they must give out the numbers of how many subscribers they have for the network. So that is the reason why WWE are going apeshit doing plugs for this thing. They need people in.
Figures.
That is an extremely important phone call. I cannot even stress how important that is for WWE. God forbid their numbers don't drop. They need them to be going up. They need it. There's no other way around it. They can't afford for the network to be a flop. And if they come out on this call and say that they've lost subscribers, this is the point now where people will soon be losing, the number. I don't think it's quite up the 6-month commitment, but the amount of people that the number hasn't inflated as much as they thought it would. They're going to be in trouble, WWE. They really will. They're losing a lot of money to this and need to start making it back. Anyway, the Authority didn't kick off Raw for a second week in a row. Wow. I can't remember the last time.
I can't comprehend this. 2 weeks. 2 weeks,
no, man. I'm just holding my breath because I don't think we're going to have much more of that. I think the Authority will start opening the show soon, very, very soon, I imagine. So, anyway, it was John Cena's turn to kick off Raw this week, and I do actually remember a few years back that he would open the show almost as much as the Authority does now. So it's not that much of a difference really, but at least it's something different for now. As we said, WWE Network needs subscribers. He starts off with a network plug. You're going to get a lot of that, not just from John Cena, no less. You're going to get it from a lot of other people. Going forward, the more they get scared, the more plugs they'll do. That's the math of it. That's the way they're going along with it. So he continues to cut pretty much the John Cena promo, which is extremely cookie cutter, talking about the pay-per-view, about the guys he's facing, and he might not be the champion, even though his track record highly suggests that he will be because he doesn't lose. Yeah. This brings out Roman Reigns, who I would say is the man of the hour. He's getting, I'd say this is the month of Roman Reigns. Would you say that?
For the rise of Reigns, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Cena runs his mouth a little bit. Tells Reigns, are you as good as you think you are? You're going to find out this week. Reigns tells him to get on with it with an exceptionally low voice, low enough that a lot of people didn't even hear him. So he needs to tweak that because I get what he's trying to do. He's just not doing it very well. If you remember wrestlers, a lot of wrestlers will do this where they lower the... Bray Wyatt does it a lot recently. He will lower the hush of his tone so people listen to certain things that he says. But you still need to be loud enough and clear enough that people can hear you. So I see what he's trying to do. He's just not doing it very well at the moment.
He did it wrong, yeah.
Yeah. He says we're going to find out if Cena is as good as he thinks he is, which I thought was a bit of a dumb statement, to be honest, because considering in storyline, Cena is the...
it was a very childish, I know you are, but what am I sort
of. Come on, Cena is the most decorated champion in WWE history, so... Yeah. I mean, the storyline, as much as people dislike him, at least in kayfabe to WWE, he is the best. So, it just seemed a bit odd that Reigns would be saying that. Still, that's not too much of an issue with it, really.
No.
They have a little stand down, but it's broken up by the voice of reason, otherwise known as Dean Ambrose, which is quite ironic.
Reason.
He wants them to stop arguing, like little children, shall someone say. As you said, just poking each other.
I know you were. Wait a minute. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so he wants them to stop arguing so they can kick the Authority's ass. It's almost like that moment where you know that you said something and exactly what you're saying to someone there right behind you when you say it. That's happened to me a few times. Has that ever happened to you? Where you've been saying so, this person's wearing, this person smells like shit, and they're actually standing right behind you, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I probably had a situation like that.
Yeah, I think everyone almost has. The difference between the situation that we had and the situation that Dean Ambrose had is that we didn't get beat to shit. So
no.
the Authority decided to batter Ambrose. While seemingly it never actually cut back to the ring, but it just seemed like Reigns and Cena were just standing there, or maybe even taking up a chair and watching.
Just to watch, yeah, exactly. Just bear witnessing to it all.
It would have been fine if it was like a quick, sledgehammer to the face, and then suddenly they're out of there. But the beatdown lasted for about a good couple of minutes, so that's fine. They could have easily run to the back and saved their tag team minutes, but no, apparently not.
This Cena only works when the bell rings.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and only when he needs when he's saving something that needs to do with him,
That's it.
Quite a selfish guy, really. This I didn't really like the segment, I must admit, except for the moment where Ambrose says, "Oh, is that all you've got?" He's been pretty much decimated. Quite a cool little statement from him. But
oh yeah, but I'll tell you what. Now I've seen some of his CZW stuff. I'm going to take that as like, is that all you've got?
Yeah. What were you saying earlier on when we were chatting? You said electric buzzsaws. Were you saying?
Yeah,
something?
you was like American sitcoms, like, oh, who's curving the turkey? And they've got this like electric saw thing.
Yeah.
He takes that to the face.
Oh, okay. Yeah, lovely. That made me cringe. I can only think of some of our younger viewers anyway. I did actually make a reference here. It's funny enough that you say this because King dropped a bombshell here that this was one of the most brutal beatdowns he's ever seen. Matt, you need to keep your ECW DVD collection away from King before he gets another heart attack. I think that's the end.
Oh, I know. It's quite terrifying.
Yes.
Considering he called some ECW matches.
Yeah, exactly. So he's obviously lying out of his ass, but still, it's King. King on commentary. You know, he lies even to himself. So, as I said before, I wasn't that impressed by this segment, to be honest. Especially between Cena and Reigns, it was a little bit too usual.
It was unnecessary, to be fair.
It was a bit, yeah. The only thing I will say as well around this is that Ambrose getting beaten up by the Authority. He got beaten by Orton clean last week, and I heard he got beaten up on SmackDown again. I wonder whether WWE are failing to capitalise on the guy's appeal. That's my issue. Hopefully he gets a big win at the pay-per-view.
I hope they don't fail on Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean, man, if he gets beaten by Rollins, they really have squandered this. This guy was getting as big a pop as Reigns was, and still probably does. It's just a matter of whether they decide to strap that rocket to him. He's obviously not going to go as far as Reigns, but still, they shouldn't. I think he needs. He needs as much protecting now as he ever did in the Shield. Would you say that?
I can kind of agree with that.
Yeah. Good.
I don't necessarily want to see him in another stable, but he needs something.
He does, and he doesn't need to keep getting beaten up every week. This guy's a fighter. Just keep him as that. Keep him as a competitor. That's fine. Competitor is the key, which is the key with a lot of the people on the roster that they need to do. Yeah. First match of the night. The Moneymaker versus the Moneymaker. I say that because the word Moneymaker in this match was used more than I've ever heard it ever used in my entire life.
I genuinely don't want to hear the word Moneymaker anymore.
Moneymaker. Ugh. Yeah. Sheamus against the Miz.
PTSD.
Yes. Miz comes out, says Moneymaker, obviously, because that's the buzzword of this match.
And here's a big picture of my Moneymaker.
Moneymaker. So... yeah, I just don't know. Like, so yeah, his big mug is up on the screen. His Moneymaker is on the screen. It's annoying already, isn't it, guys? I can tell you, you're only listening. Stop saying the word Moneymaker. Well, that's what we were saying to the TV when we were listening to this match. I don't ever want to hear the fucking word Moneymaker ever again, but we're going to. There you are. That's the way it is. The match was okay. It was alright. It was competitive at least. Miz gets the surprise roll-up pin, which of course we know is the most devastating finish in all of WWE.
That's it.
Rolled up pin, man.
Sneaky roll up, it's all over.
Yeah. I'm surprised no one used that against Undertaker before Lesnar broke the streak. It would have been a sure thing.
Wow. It's a shock.
Wow.
Like a proper missed opportunity.
Very, very. One thing I will say about this Battle Royal that they're going to have, which Miz and Sheamus are part of, no less, it's filled to the brim that with wrestlers. It's got 20 wrestlers, all of them.
Let's just call this the mid-card mayhem, shall we?
Yeah, it's all guys that WWE has absolutely no plans to do anything with.
Yeah.
So
the fact that it's like my big thing is like, why is Sheamus in it?
I don't know.
He's United States champion.
Because they had no plans for him. There you go. He has to be put in it. It's the no plans Battle Royal. There you are.
Yeah.
So Sheamus very rarely has any plans put on him. So just. Stick him in the Battle Royal, why not? They did make a lot of references during this match that they think that Sheamus is going to unify the belts, which, I'm all for, to be honest. I might rather have one mid-card title that's treated correctly than two that aren't. But I know, Matt,
we'd see it mistreated.
I know you're a little bit different because you would prefer them just to make more effort and make both of them worth something, but I just don't think they're capable of that. But I know we've talked about that before. But yes, Moneymaker. Moneymaker. You can catch the Moneymaker podcast on Moneymaker. Moneymaker.
Dodge Bro Kick. Yeah, Moneymaker, Dodge Bro Kick. So there's one thing recently I've noticed with Sheamus, actually.
Yeah.
Isn't it meant to be like the 10 beats of the Baron or whatever?
Of which I think that...
He now can't count to 10. Because I'm pretty sure for the past 3 weeks it's been more than a 10.
Maybe he just really likes doing it. No, he's just decided to add more on. One thing that should be noted that I should have spoke about, I don't think I did speak to about it. For anyone who doesn't know, my wife is Irish. She knows some of the Irish language. A few of the words that Sheamus uses for his moves are wrong.
Like what?
I can't exactly say, but I know that some like the bro kick means something like the foot kick. So what else would you kick with?
No, I guess. Yeah, but it's a
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just makes no sense. There's a few of them that he's done like that. So, yeah. So, interesting. Moneymaker. Anyway, Kane, Orton, and Rollins are backstage. There's lots of segments with these guys backstage with Triple H. Pretty much, well, I hate to say it because they weren't exactly useful, but they kind of built up the skeleton of the show, unfortunately. They're arguing about who's going to win the title. You know, is Orton going to win it, but Kane, you know, you can tell he wants to win it. Triple H tells them it doesn't matter as long as they bring the title back to the Authority for stability.
Plan A.
He sends them on his way so that he can have a look at Stephanie's Moneymaker. Moneymaker. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, he has a little bit of mouth action with Stephanie, which sounds actually a lot dirtier in my notes than I guess does, speaking it out.
They face wrestled.
Say what you want for a corrupt power couple, you can tell that they really love each other. So,
I hope so.
Secret to a happy marriage right there, guys. Just be corrupt. Why not?
Corrupt and power.
There you
Absolute
go.
Power.
Exactly. These guys look like they've got the best marriage in the world, so kudos to them as a married man myself. Talking of relationships, Ziggler against Fandango. The age-old battle continues. So it looks like at least this kind of soap opera style storyline is going to come to a conclusion, which is good for Ziggler. I'm sure he came to a conclusion later on with two particular women. Woo! During the match, Layla and Summer Rae start dancing on the announce table. You're really saying, Tony, but what the hell? These girls were fighting each other last week. Yes, you're quite right. But on SmackDown, they decided to team up with each other. And it's one of those rare moments where stuff on SmackDown, at least they didn't replay it on Raw. So, usual people like me that have given up on SmackDown for ages didn't really know what this was all about. But still, carrying on.
I understood what was going on, so occasionally, like, when WWE post up, like, little highlights from SmackDown on YouTube, it's like, that's only 2 minutes, I'll quickly watch it.
Exactly. For people that might say, well, that's what they're trying to do, Tony, they're trying to get you to watch SmackDown. This storyline will not make me want to watch SmackDown, I can guarantee you that.
What's going on between the Fandango, Ziggler, Layla, and Summer Rae sort of love square?
No.
That's just not how it gets done.
No, not exactly. So they're trying to distract Fandango, and they do to a degree. But ironically enough, it actually looks like Ziggler was the most distracted out of all of them. He was infused by these girls, and why not? They're very attractive women. He still gets the win. You know, he reverses like a move and then gets the famous gets the win. And then he walks out with both Summer Rae and Layla, who check out his goods, shall we say, before deciding to double team him. Yes. All I have to say with his
there
women,
are worse double teams.
Yeah. I'm sure Ziggler wouldn't mind being in the middle of a Layla Summer Rae sandwich. And you know, who are we to argue? You know, there's a few men out there who would say no to that. So the one thing I will say is that Triple H would have to be careful with Ziggler around, because he still shows and your significant other. So you know, maybe he'll become the king of Steph. Who knows? Talking of that though, the talk is obviously, as we said before, that Ziggler's got someone pissed off. By the looks of it, I don't know whether Triple H is that person, but he's annoyed someone in creative, and that's why he's not being used, and be used in this sort of storyline. But still,
it's just a shame.
I have to say, as much as we think Ziggler's been underutilized, at least he's not being used as a comedy character like Damien Sandow, which is my segue.
I was about to say, was he on this week? But yes, he was.
He was, yeah.
Oh,
Talking of Damien Sandow, it seems that
sponsor plug.
Some brain dead companies, and I mean they must be fucking brain dead, they really do, are paying WWE to perform awful adverts for their products. This week it was Sonic. Which we don't get over here in Europe, so I don't know what they do. I'm guessing they do hot dogs because that was the whole mention of this whole thing. So, still, maybe considering they're called Sonic, shouldn't they have onion rings? For the video game.
Wait.
Oh, come on! I just thought of that on the fly, guys. I know it's horrible. So. I think that possibly Damien Sandow's mental retardation is actually rubbing off on these companies. That's the only explanation. He practices his next job prospect of being one of their delivery guys. And he's adoring this hot dog in front of him when Adam Rose comes and says, "Stop being a lemon." They fight over the hot dog. Damien Sandow gets thrown off the screen, and then Adam Rose eats said hot dog.
Celebrates with a hot dog.
Yes.
Woo.
As much thought.
And then there was hot dogs for everyone.
Yay! As much thought went into this advert as WWE has put care into both of these men's careers.
Yeah. That
is all that can be said. The rumors...
It's a terrible thing. It's like I've recently been watching Monty Python. Now, I know in America they don't talk but it's like, if you know it that well, Tony, it's like on the Holy Grail one, and it's like, and then there was much rejoicing.
Yes.
And that's literally the whole way through this whole segment. It's like,
yeah, it was, and they're going to be doing more of them. There you are. So you're going to get more of this stuff.
I know, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Now, the rumours are about Adam Rose is that the reason why he's not being featured on the show and he's been put in segments like these is because Vince McMahon is no longer hot on the guy. He doesn't think that the guy is working.
It's not even just Vince McMahon. It's
everyone, essentially.
Oh, what's his name? There's the other person that's out the back.
There's a lot of people in the back. Kevin Sullivan?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Chris literally just like, Adam Rose? No.
No, they're not happy with
the last pay-per-view was like his chance to redeem himself, and now they're just like, you're shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
To be honest, though, I mean, it's kind of their fault as well. I mean, you give him this gimmick. He hadn't done it that long in NXT before they brought him up. This is what happens when you rush people in. They haven't fine-tuned their character enough, and now part of the allure has already been tainted. So, look at Bo Dallas, right? If he'd come in with that gimmick, just when he started in NXT, I can guarantee you it wouldn't be working now. It really wouldn't, because it's a very awkward gimmick to do. But because he's already done it for months on NXT, he knows how to do it week in, week out, and that's fine. But Adam Rose was made Adam Rose, and then it was straight onto the main roster. That's what happens. A lot of people are saying, Kenta, he's been signed. Why didn't you put him straight onto the main roster? Because he needs to learn how to get back into the ring with some people that he probably hasn't wrestled with for a while, and use WWE's camera breaks and the special entrances that he's now got available to him.
Well, it's widely known that the WWE has their own style.
Yes, the WWE style, some would say.
So it's something that needs to essentially be retrained.
Yes, you do need to tweak things, and being put straight in will only do more harm for you. I'm happy that Kenta's going to NXT. I think that's the best place for him to begin with. Obviously, in terms of technical wrestling, he's better than 80% of the main roster, but that isn't the point. In order to really put over how good he is, he just needs to tweak a few things, and NXT is the perfect place for him to do that, and to get the first sort of his name out there for the WWE fans. Because we might know who Kenta is, but the generic wrestling fan, if I went outside now and I went downstairs and asked my wife who is Kenta, she would not know who Kenta is. So there you are.
No, not a clue.
Need to educate their fan base, and that's the best ways for it. So, moving on, anyway, from that impromptu Kenta conversation, I am excited for him to come in, by the way.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Oh, the people he can work with. Jesus Christ, that's going to be good.
You think the Cesaro Sami Zayn, I think Sami Zayn Kenta or Cesaro Kenta.
I just want a Daniel Bryan Kenta. That's what I want. Daniel Bryan Kenta.
Daniel Bryan back first.
Yes, yeah. Well, hopefully by the time Kenta's done all this stuff, because it looks like Daniel Bryan's going to be even longer out. Maybe the timing will be right, but we don't know yet. Still, and it wouldn't be right for Kenta's first rivalry to be against Daniel Bryan. It just doesn't work. So anyway, the Usos come down for a match. Do the whole entrance. They're ready. Whoever their match was supposed to be against, I don't know, and we'll never know because they were laid out by the Wyatts beforehand. Quite a beat down by these guys, showing. Was it Alicia Fox last week? How you properly beat down someone and make it look decent enough, because she did a horrible beat down last week of Nikki Bella. And yet again this week they did roughly the same thing. So commentary tells us after this beat down that their title match, the tag team title match at Battleground, will be a best out of 3 falls match. That sounds excellent. I really am looking forward to it.
You know what, there was me when they were just like, and they'll face off a Battleground. I was like, not again. No, they're doing it again, where it's like, that was really good. Do it again.
Yeah, no.
But now it's like, and now it's going to be a 2 out of 3. Oh!
Yeah, that's interesting to me. It's been a while since they've done a match like this, and best out of 3 falls match more often than not turn out really, really good. There's a lot of drama you can do with the best out of 3 falls. Especially if they have it that, I firmly believe, we'll go to predictions later, that Wyatts are going to win. But if they have it that the Wyatts win the first fall, so like the faces have to win the succeeding next 2.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. It just works really, really well.
It's just a really strong match type.
Yeah.
To really push the story.
Yeah, it is good. And they don't do many of them. You know, we've been talking about the abundance of battle royals recently, and I do believe they're doing too many. When was the last time you saw a best out of 3 falls match? It's been a while, especially a tag team match, no less.
I don't know, because the last one I was just thinking, it was like, no, that was a 3 stages of hell.
Oh yeah, which is roughly the same thing. It's just on steroids, isn't it? The 3 stages of hell.
Yeah, it's just a stipulation one, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe that's what they'll move on to next. You know, would make sense, I guess, if maybe Wyatts win, Usos get their rematch, and they make it the best tag team match they could possibly do. Maybe, we'll see. But I don't think they will, personally, because then they'd have to make that as the main event of SummerSlam, and they won't do that. So, moving on to probably the hottest segment of the night, really, really hot segment, the debate, the détente. They were saying on. On WWE between Rusev and Swagwell, more so against Coulter and Lana. Yep. So they're both in the ring with their respective champions. Maybe I've been watching too much Game of Thrones.
Representatives.
They're representatives, yeah, of their countries. Even though still that Rusev's from Bulgaria, but we'll forget about that. Why not? Cole says that this is to ease the tension of the 2 countries, as if. You know, if Lana and Coulter were somehow to shake hands, there was to be an instant alliance made between, the US and...
This was going to be the peace talks.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Happens on WWE, so I imagine all the news sections, about the political correspondents were all over this. Of course they weren't, we're joking. But still, regardless of all that, it was a really, really hot segment. And say what you want about the booking of this. You could tell me, well, it's been done before, it's simple, it's cheap, they've done this years gone, they've done it so many times. You know what, it may be Wrestling 101, it may be the easiest thing to book, it still matters, and it always will still work.
And it's hot, though.
Yes.
And there's no denying it, the fact that this thing currently holds heat.
Yeah. I mean, it works. The whole America against a foreign nation, because obviously before they did against Iraq, they did against... they've obviously done against Russia. They've done a few other ones, they did Lex Luger, and being the American Express and stuff like that. So, when you look at all that other times that they've done it, I mean, they've done good gaps in between it, but it will always work. It will always work. As patriotic as Americans are, and they are, I'll give them credit to that. This storyline will always work, and I'm convinced it will work 10, 20, 30 years from now. I really will.
Yeah, completely.
So, Lana obviously starts us off. She starts losing her shit as the crowd starts chanting USA. She's very irked, calling them stupid and telling them to shut up in quite an entertaining fashion.
Yeah.
I felt here, and this is probably the best analogy that I could give, right? I felt as if I was playing NBA Jam. Okay? It's going to feel really weird.
Okay, that's a really odd sort of comparison.
Yeah, no, you'll get this, right? And Lana has thrown the ball up, and Zeb Coulter is going to dunk it. So essentially, she's assisting him, and he's got to hit the slam dunk. That's exactly how this promo worked. She was setting him up for the big pop, and I think she did her job. So
definitely.
There you There you go. Worked a basketball pun in there.
Okay,
there
yeah.
Yeah. Different. You weren't expecting that, listeners, were you?
Oh,
So, Lana says to Coulter that she demands an apology for everything that's happened wrong for being so stupid. Obviously, Coulter refuses that. Would have been very weird if he said, "Okay, I apologise for being an idiot."
Yeah, my bad.
So Lana responds with saying that Vladimir Putin, the beautiful Vladimir Putin, as she sometimes says, will come and save America if they want him to. And Coulter responds by saying he may not always agree with Obama, because I mean a lot of the stuff he said when they first came in was very against the stuff that Obama is, obviously. So I'm glad that he didn't just go uber patriotic. They still stayed true to his character, but he'll always respect the president of the USA. And he moves things along, going away from that. He tells Rusev to stop hiding from Lana's skirt and fight.
From Lana's skirt?
Well, hiding behind Lana's skirt.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's like you think you misworded.
Well, I don't know. They are together, so maybe he has been in Lana's skirts, but it's a different thing altogether. Lucky man, I would say. And a fight starts up. So obviously Lana gets really pissed off, gives Coulter a good slap, and then Swagger and Rusev fight off. Coulter, the gentleman that he is, obviously doesn't do anything to Lana. Very good gentleman.
That's it.
As we said before, as we started talking about this, Swagger got the better of Rusev at the end. He gets the ankle lock, and obviously Rusev scrambles out of the ring with all of his ability. And as we said at the beginning, it was a really hot segment. Everything that he did here worked. It really did. And it's a match that I'm really interested in. It's a match I would have saved for SummerSlam, personally. I think Battleground...
The amount of work that they're putting into it, yeah.
Yeah. I really would have. I don't know. I think that if they decide, okay, they're going to have Rusev win, and then go on, and Swagger might get the win at SummerSlam, which I don't think will happen, by the way. But anyway, I think it takes the gloss off that first match. The match that these guys are going to have against each other is going to be really, really, really interesting. But any sort of rematch after that, it takes the gloss off, and that's part of the booking. It's not really their fault. I mean, Coulter, Lana, Rusev, and Swagger are all doing their part, and they're doing really great in this rivalry. But part of this thing is that, like, once you lose that first match, then that's the declaration done. This country's better than this country. And often they will build up Russia being the big, powerful country until the next big guy will come along and stop it. But that's always something. And I don't think Swagger is the guy. But we'll talk about that in the predictions later.
Yeah.
But awesome segment. I really enjoyed this segment, and as I said there before, it seems like they were helping each other. It doesn't seem that way, obviously, to the naked eye, but believe me, with the way that they were putting their promos over, Lana was setting up Coulter was setting up Lana. It was good back and forth, good stuff. Cena and Reigns are backstage. Cena tells Roman to stand up because he wasn't listening to him, and trust him because they've got to fight the Authority tonight. Reigns, yet again, same problem. He's talking way too loud, so you can only catch the end of what he has to say. But he essentially says that they're going to take out the 3 members of the Authority tonight. A really missable segment. You could miss this, wouldn't be an issue. They pretty much said this earlier on. And the very idea that they weren't going to have Cena and Reigns... Yeah. It could have been missable. But was there anything else that WWE could write better? I doubt it. So that's what we got. RVD, 1-on-1 against Alberto Del Rio. I'm sure you can count the amount of wrestlers that Del Rio's fought in the last 12 months on one hand. It's pretty much RVD, Ziggler. Those are the 2 main that I can think of. He's really done nothing. And maybe obviously Sin Cara every now and then, because he likes to wrestle Sin Cara every now and then. This match, I don't know whether you caught this match. Maybe it's to the eye. I thought it was a little bit awkward. I don't know how to explain it. It looked like these guys were a bit awkward with each other, which is weird because they've wrestled each other quite a bit. Did you get that feeling from this match at all?
Oh, I get where you're coming with that. Something just sort of didn't click.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the match was okay. It was just it seemed that sometimes these guys were looking at each other and the answers weren't coming. That's what I felt looking at it. And it wasn't like a classic by any means. This particular match, it was there. Del Rio gets the victory here after a missed 5-star frog splash. He locks in the cross arm breaker, and RVD taps out. you might be saying, oh, Del Rio gets the victory. Why? Why? But he's leaving the company soon. Well, it doesn't really matter because RVD's leaving again soon as well. So it doesn't really matter who won this match. It doesn't make any difference. It's just more stuff to build up the IC title Battle Royal. The I have no plans for you Battle Royal, which will be known as going forward. And they have absolutely no plans for RVD and Del Rio, hence why this match happened. So there you go. The Best in the World documentary was promoted, as we said earlier on, with the CM Punk leaving the company. Yes, we said last week with the Monday Night Wars, it was a show we've already seen. This is another show we've already seen. So we're not missing that much on the network, really.
I know. Exclusive. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Never before seen. I've seen it.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, though, for people that have the network, you've probably already missed it by now, because I know it was just one of the ones that they had. But still, if you can, then it is an excellent documentary. And if you don't have the network to watch it, search it on YouTube. Very easy to do. Like anything else that you want to find on the network. Search it on YouTube. It's a cheap, you don't have to pay for it, and it's often a better service, of what I've heard. So there you are. YouTube. The real WWE network.
Fan-made network.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just talking about that Best in the World documentary, I did, as we said, both of us have watched it. It is really, really high quality. Really good stuff. So I heavily recommend. Moving on from that, because they're airing a lot of documentaries and stuff on the network, obviously try and get it over. You're sighing already, Matt, because I know that you know what's coming next.
No.
I know that you know that I know that I know. That's a Brock reference, by the way, for anyone that knows that. Nikki Bella goes not 1-on-1, goes 1-on-2 handicap match again. Cameron and Alicia Fox. Steph comes out at the start of the match and continues the stuff of, oh, your sister abandoned you, blah 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 blah.
Oh, but this could have been a tag team match, but she's gone.
Yeah,
it's like, I hate the fact that it's like your sister's abandoned you. It's like, it's been weeks.
Yeah.
Are we still keeping? Yeah, this was meant to be a tag match. What? Because this match was written a month ago.
Is Steph so inept at booking Divas matches that she honestly thinks that when someone leaves their company, that they just don't continue to book them? You know, that might be an interesting thing. You know,
that's it. It's like, what happened? I don't know.
She seems genuinely shocked each week that Brie Bella isn't there to help her. I know obviously it's part of the gimmick, and that's the reason. You know, obviously she's doing it just to get her, but it's just funny how they do that. But what's even funnier is that we were talking about Cena earlier on, and obviously Reigns, but Cena more so. Didn't seem to really care that Ambrose was getting the shit kicked out of her. He doesn't really care that Nikki is getting the shit kicked out of her each week.
No.
His girlfriend. I guess chivalry isn't part of his hustle, loyalty, and respect mantra. You know? It's not hustle, chivalry, loyalty.
Hustle, loyalty, check your bitches.
Yes, and respect. No, it's not. So, at least he's living his creed. We can't say him that. Or maybe it's just trying to tell her to, instead of never give up, to just give up on ever get a proposal from the man, because it's not going to happen. But all the odds that are stacked against Nikki Bella, right? And they're trying to do this thing that she's always getting dicked on by the authority. She's always getting away from these matches relatively unscathed. She's getting beaten and then left. They're going to do this storyline. You either have to give us the end of it now, or you really need to amp it up. You need to really destroy Nikki Bella on camera.
That's it.
And not to the degree that Alicia Fox did it. I'm sure Alicia Fox thought she did a great job by missing the mark completely with her 2 beers and giving her a little bit of a beating. I mean, go for it. You know, just
proper beat shit.
Beat her. Yeah, people will take a lot more notice of this if it's a beating that will shock people. And I'm not saying, oh, why would you want to do that? That'll hurt them. This is wrestling, people. Come on. You know, they need to make this shocking. You can beat someone up really bad on television without hurting them just because they're a diva. I hate this assumption. If you asked AJ or Paige or Emma to do that sort of thing, they would be well up for it. There's no reason why the Bellas shouldn't be either. So, and maybe it's just booking. Maybe booking's doing it wrong. But there you go. She needs to get dicked, and I don't mean that by John Cena. So,
I was going to say she needs to get dicked.
So, I'm gonna do this to you, Matt. Right? I'm gonna paint this picture to you going forward. Okay? I'm gonna do it in a very descriptive fashion. Okay?
Yep.
So, a shadowy figure, standing triumphant, emerging from the darkness. A string band are playing an ominously familiar theme song. Yes. The figure descends from the rafters, quick as the music quickens. The drums are racing for war. the Crow's theme. A man steps through, unknowing, do not know, and then suddenly the music stops. The band turn around to be painted in black and white.
Dude, the Shadow was carrying a baseball bat.
Yes, yeah. Well, shush. Okay. The figure turns around and shows himself. Sting is here in WWE 2K14. So yeah, there's the fine print there.
Yeah,
Awesome video.
That was like a proper, just like, oh man, dicks.
Yeah.
Dicks.
The crowd followed your statement. They cheered. They went nuts the minute that they realised that this was Sting. I knew it was Sting as soon as that first little bit started up.
As soon as the music kicked.
Yeah. But still, once they realised it was Sting, man, you could hear the crowd. They were going ballistic. They loved this. They were awesome. And then the words, 2K15, WWE video game, pre-order it now. And the boos rang out.
And the fact that he's in it as a pre-order.
Exactly, he's not even in the main game.
Like as a proper one, it's like only if you pre-order. It's like, you fucking what?
Yeah, this annoyed me, right? Because if this was the way that you're going to debut Sting, it is a little bit crap, to be honest. The video, by the way, just before we start, the video is amazing. It's it's about a minute long video. It isn't very long, but it was really well made. Apparently, it costs 2K Games $200,000 to make it. That's the best $200,000 for 60 seconds I've ever seen. It was really, really good. And man, if in terms of the game, so we'll talk about Sting. In terms of the game, it really makes me want to buy the game. And if that's their intention, which obviously it was, they did a good job. But now let's talk about Sting and his actual debut with the company. This video that they did, ironically, would have been the perfect video for them to air just before he walks out onto the ramp. And it's a shame that it was used in this fashion. Now, there's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of... in fact, they had one of these sit-down interviews with Michael Cole, with Triple H and Michael Cole, where he asked, do you think Sting will come in? And basically, Triple H, in all intents and purposes, says, yeah, he's coming in. So you can expect him to happen soon. When I say soon, I think Hall of Fame. You look at the blueprint of what they did with the Ultimate Warrior with Sting. They brought him in for ironically enough, the video game last year. Then he had the Hall of Fame induction. Then he was on Raw. I guarantee you, if he hadn't tragically passed away, which is, an absolute tragedy that he did, I guarantee you he would have been more referenced and more prominent on Raw now.
Yeah.
That's how I see it going for Sting.
I agree with that.
That's how I see it going. So, you might be waiting a while, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility for Sting to have a match at WrestleMania 31.
I think it's like, I don't know if it's sort of, if you've done the same as me, or like done a little bit of research into it, but apparently Sting's like done a lot of like, I want to if I come back and if I'm going to do this, I want to face the Taker.
Yes, yeah.
It's sort of like, I think it's sort of just like in that sort of accepting, like we're both in the golden years of our careers, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't think you can wait too many more years until Taker is completely inept. I don't want to say inept. Is incapable of wrestling a match, let alone a good match.
Yeah, completely.
Sting is still at that point, but he's getting there himself. So one more year, I don't think you've got that shot. I mean, I think they're well over the point of having a really, really 5-star match. But the idea of having Sting against Undertaker, which I don't know whether it might happen or not, it could happen. And I think that if they are going to go for Taker one big match, and Sting as well, one big match, you can't go worse than Sting against Taker. You really can't. But whether that's going to happen or not, whether he faces Taker or not, I firmly believe that he'll wrestle WrestleMania 31. I firmly believe he'll go into the Hall of Fame. And I also believe that he won't debut now for a while.
I'd say if he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, then it's just like stupidity.
Yes, yeah. He is officially signed with the company. If you look at the interviews that he's had, he's with them. He's 100% with them. You look at some of the stuff he said with him. He's like, I know it's taken ages to get here, but I'm here and I'm 100% into this company now. So he's a WWE guy now, Sting, which you thought you'd never say before. But it is a little bit of a shame, because when I think of his perfect debut, you'd have whoever he's going to go against, you have that video air, and you have it just before he comes out.
That's it.
And as he's walking off, in that video, then it
like
actually
you'd sort of like, all the way I could just imagine it is like, you play that video, there's that little bit where he turns around and then it sort of fades to black, and everything goes dark.
Yeah.
Sort of like,
that's it.
That would be perfect.
Yeah. That would be, literally, you couldn't have done a better debut of Sting. But they're going to have to do something different now. And the allure of finally seeing Sting on WWE television has now gone. They've passed that now. But he'll still get a big pop if he does, so still. I'll take it. You know, it isn't the perfect way to do it, but I think they're going to do this the same way they did Ultimate Warrior. And it's ironic considering Sting and Warrior started their careers together, so there you are.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm a big Sting fan, but I wanted this. The video package was so good, it deserved to be used for his debut. It really did. And the fans were not happy that he didn't debut either. They cut away from those boos very quickly. I don't know if you noticed that. But anyway.
Yeah, it's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Orton comes out to Triple H. He says he doesn't trust Kane. You know, Kane seems a bit edgy. Triple H says to him that it's always the plan to get the belts back on Orton. Another mini segment that kind of wasted my time. It's just there to tease dissension with the Authority that will never happen. So there you are. Another segment which I am going to be negative with two guys which I don't want to be. Stardust and Goldust doing more of their wackiness. I do like their wackiness, right? I get it. It's weird. It's kind of entertaining, right? But they're not in the ring. I would like the idea of these guys.
I was actually thinking the other day. It's like, when was the last time we actually saw them compete?
They haven't wrestled anyone apart from Ryback, which is really, really sad.
That was a few weeks ago as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would like this is how I like them to be done. They can still have these segments. That's fine. The segments aren't bad, all right? They're over before they really begin, so you know you can't really say they're too bad. You know, they're fine. You know, and they're entertaining to a degree. They've got good chemistry between them. The problem is, I like the idea of these guys doing this bizarre stuff to put people off in matches and actually wrestle those matches.
Yeah,
if they don't wrestle matches, I'm going to tell you right now, they'll end up like Willow. They will. You'll get annoyed with them very, very quickly. I got annoyed with them on this show. So there you are. They need to start wrestling matches. Any longer, and they're going to really seriously mess up this Stardust character before it gets off the ground. Yeah, sure, you have to tease him a little bit, but you didn't tease him when you first came in. You gave him a match when you first came in. It's not really much of a tease. So there you are. Are you under the same thought of that? With Stardust and Goldust? Because, I mean, I can tell you now, right? This will get old very quick. Some people might be saying, oh, these guys are great, these guys are great. Trust me, 3 more weeks of them doing this stuff, you won't want to see him again. I promise you that. Cesaro against Big E, another guy that hasn't been faring off too well the last month. No Paul Heyman with Cesaro. None at all. He's good. He's not. Wasn't with him. And he looked a little bit vexed. Did he say, Cesaro? So obviously, you know, this is sort of goes along those lines that if you beat Xavier Woods, you fight R-Truth. Apparently, if you beat Kofi King, or you don't beat Kofi Kingston because you never actually beat him, then you go against Big E. That seems the plan. Kofi Kingston was out helping Big E during this match. Just going back to Heyman, just for a sec, before we talk about this match. It shows how little, because the reason why Heyman isn't there is because Brock Lesnar's soon to return. So you're not going to see Heyman around Cesaro for a while. It's all going to be about Brock Lesnar. So it shows how little Heyman has done to help Cesaro over the last few months. It really has. He's done nothing.
Yeah.
Now I know the case is still to give him a Cesaro a face push eventually. I thought you may as well have done that back when he was really getting over as a face, even though he was a heel. That's the moment where you pull the trigger. But they decided to pair him up with Heyman, which is fine, but they've done nothing. Now, there's a strong case for all the clients that Heyman has had, apart from Lesnar, that there's nothing. He doesn't do anything for you. In fact, sometimes he'll very strongly damage you as a character. Now,
Punk?
Apart from Punk, yeah. But then again, that being said, Lesnar was not around the times that Punk was. You know?
Oh, okay, so you're thinking now that, yeah.
You know? Well, that being said...
With Brock on the scene, it's Heyman's no good to anyone, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And let's face it, CM Punk didn't need Heyman when Heyman came in. You know what I mean? CM Punk could talk as well as anyone. He didn't need Heyman as part of his team. It was just good to pair them up with each other. But Cesaro did, and there's been nothing going on with them recently. But I don't think it's particularly Paul Heyman's fault. There's only so much the guy can do when he's being told that you need to keep selling the fact that Lesnar has broken the streak. But Cesaro's in nothing. He's doing nothing. So what do? You know, the guy's caught between a rock and a hard place. And only, I mean, Heyman's good on the mic, but he's not a magician in the sense that he can keep making, like, he can't make 20 different weeks of him saying that, oh, my client Brock Lesnar broke the streak seemed different, you know, he can only do it so much, so. The match was okay, it was alright. It should have been better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I reckon Cesaro against Big E could be one of your big matches. Two powerhouses showing off how strong they are, but it didn't really turn out that way, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the match turned out.
Yeah. Cesaro basically gets pissed off. He tries to end the match with a steel chair. Kofi stops him. Big E hits the big ending to win the match. I hate that name of that finisher. Just telling you now. It sounds like a special package from a Thai massage parlor. It does. So I would like to give you the big ending.
You want big ending?
You want big ending? That's all I can think of whenever they say that. Oh, a horrible name. Really, really horrible. Maybe we're just too dirty-minded. Maybe that's just it.
I think that's probably it.
That's probably it.
Our corrupt minds.
Yeah. Leave a comment if you think it's just us, or if you think that name is just over-sexualized. Just when they say, "Oh, Big E's going to give him the big ending," it just sounds really bad.
It's actually worse.
Yeah. Chris Jericho comes out. Always glad to see Chris Jericho. He says that he's seen it all in his time. He's seen wrestlers like Michael Hayes, 3-minute warning. He's been seeing stuff like Taker being burned by his own pyro. He also said that he'll fight Bob Barker anytime, any place, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been musical chairs champion.
Yeah, exactly. He's a 9-time IC champion, and he beat Rock and Austin the same night. Jericho's done this a lot where he sings his praise, and that one especially more than anyone else. But that's a fact that sometimes when you give stars that are still trying to give themselves credit a big victory like that, how it can do them well throughout their entire career if it's done right. And man, Chris Jericho must have said the words, "I was the first undisputed champion," thousands of times, but it did him really well. So there you are. Talking of the musical chair champion, would you like to see an actual title belt made of that? Someone do a little picture, draw a picture of a musical chair championship title belt. And maybe they can do it. Each week they have a musical chair event, and it would still be better than the Divas matches than they do. So,
quite easily.
Yeah. He says he's never seen anything, though, like Bray Wyatt. He says that if Wyatt wants to get a little bit crazy and nuts, sure, Jericho will go there. He can get crazy and nuts. And if Wyatt has the whole world in his hands, this is a really good statement he said there, then Jericho has the whole WWE universe in his hands. Good line. I'm surprised no one else has used that, especially Cena, you know. That seems like something that Cena would say, but Jericho beat him to the punch, which is fine because Cena had 3 months wrestling Wyatt, so he had his chance. No, that's
it. And the opportunity was missed.
I'm going to rant a little bit now because sometimes fans don't really deserve good things. I mean this. I do, right? I guess you know what's
I'm curious where you're going with this.
All right. Sometimes fans don't deserve stuff. Sometimes fans don't deserve Wyatt promos. Wyatt comes out and he does another good captivating promo, and in the background you have some fucking moronic fans chanting boring.
That's it. That's the bit that I messaged you about.
Oh, there we go. Right, I have a plan. There you go. I raged about this because the promo is good. Bray Wyatt's promos are always good. They're always very good. I can understand sometimes a little bit why people might not like them, but they're never boring. They're always captivating, right?
Oh yeah.
I've got something, right? Every single time that this happens again, that a crowd starts chanting boring at Bray Wyatt promos, they cut him off the Titantron immediately. Cut Wyatt off the Titantron. They don't give him any more Wyatts because they don't deserve him, and they trot out Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, Kane. Hell, send out Micah Damley, and he'll do another fucking promo. That's what they deserve. Then to get a bright and get them to chant boring at them because that's what they do. If they chant promos like this, they don't deserve to hear them. That's it. So if you're one of those guys chanting boring, you're clueless. You really are. And next time Orton is out there and you don't chant boring out to him, you're a fucking hypocrite. That's all I have to say. Seriously, you guys don't deserve
using the term hypocrites whilst linking it into a Jericho.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I know exactly what you meant though, because I was just like, all I could hear was just like, "Boah!" It's like, no, don't let it ring, you dicks.
Yeah.
Don't even understand.
Yeah. I seriously, like, I honestly want Randy Orton to go out there and forget his lines, stumble around the ring, and say a lot of just usual pap.
My name is Randy Orton.
Yeah, and then that's what they deserve. They have to sit there and take that fucking torture because they decided they were going to chant boring at a decent promo. You know what? That's what they deserve. So there you are. There's my thoughts on it. Still, Wyatt says that Chris is afraid. So he does a cool promo. I don't like to say stuff that Wyatt says because he says it in his own unique way. It just won't come out the same, me saying it. So if you really want to see what he says, watch Raw. You know, that's what we're there for. I imagine most of the people that listen to this podcast listen to Raw. They just want to see what we think of it. So anyway, he says, "Are you afraid of the dark, Chris?" And the lights go out, and then it's hard to say, right? So he does his promo first, and then it cuts off, and then it goes back on to the Titantron. But if you notice, something is different with Wyatt. You can see that one of his eyes is really badly hurt. And later on, when he comes out, his eye was actually really badly gashed. This was something that was saying that he has a massive shiner, but apparently when he walked into that arena, it was about 10 times as worse as what it showed. So apparently the makeup guys did some amazing work to even get him look somewhat respectable because his eye was seriously bad. So kudos to them anyway. But anyway, so the lights go out, obviously after Wyatt says, "Are you afraid of the dark?" And, you know, the Wyatt family, Rowan and Harper, are standing either side. Y2J manages to evade them to a certain degree. And then he gets attacked by Bray Wyatt on the stage, who, as I said there, is sporting a hell of a black eye. But apparently a miracle was performed on him to make his eye look even somewhat semblance of human.
Something like an eye.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I like it. The match they're going to have is good, not boring. You know what? If they chant boring during this match, you know what? They just stand up, they walk out of the ring, they give him Kofi Kingston against RVD. You know, there you go. You got that. Morons, seriously. So, would you say that Chris Jericho and Wyatt is boring?
No.
No.
Hell no.
Hell no. Exactly. One person who, well, I can't say he's boring, but more cringeworthy, disappointing, frustrating. Eva Marie against AJ Lee. Talk about a massive divide in wrestling skill. Not only that, desire to be a wrestler as well. You can tell
want of it.
You can tell every time I watch Eva Marie, I know she does not want to be a wrestler. You can tell. She doesn't want to be a wrestler.
It's like, why are you here? I just like the money.
Yeah, she wants to be a model. She wants to make money by travelling the world. Sure. She wants to look good, to be featured on magazines. She wants to have fans. This is one way that she can do that, but she just has to take a few really shitty bumps in the ring. But you know what? It is frustrating, Eva Marie. And I know apparently she got diced to shit on NXT tapings. She had a match.
Yeah, I heard that.
I think it's because people can tell when people don't want to be good. They're just getting through it because they have to. It's part of their job. If she honestly had a lot of passion and desire to be a good wrestler, then she would be improving, and she's not. So there you go.
Nah, not at all.
Also, as well, talking about divide in wrestling skill and everything, I don't get the appeal of Eva Marie. I know obviously she's an attractive woman. I get it. Some people would like it, just not my type. I would take Paige or AJ any day of the week, personally. Yeah. What about you?
I'll pass on Eva Marie.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not an interest in that at all.
No. And that's just talking to us from I understand why people think she's a very attractive woman. She obviously is, but not for me. So Paige is playing the Uber fan on commentary, saying nothing but nice things about AJ, saying that she's going to win the match.
She's her frenemy.
Frenemy, that's it. Yeah, the word frenemy. And AJ attempted during Paige's commentary to make this match look somewhat respectable. She failed. It was shit, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's only so much you can do with someone that doesn't want to be good. There you are. So there you are.
So there's only so much you can do when you're left to work with shit.
Yes, exactly.
Here's shit.
There you go.
Don't make it shit.
What you can do is make it you can make the match stink less, but it still stank. There's no getting around that. After the match, obviously AJ Lee got the win. I imagine Matt would have self-combusted if Eva Marie beat AJ Lee, but there we are.
I probably would have just burst.
I would just be looking up in the moon and say, oh, that looks like Matt. How did he get up there? There you go, self-combusted, because Eva Marie beat a very good wrestler. There we go. So after the match, AJ Lee takes JBL's headset off, and they have a little conversation, Paige and AJ. Swapping compliments.
It seems very awkward.
Yes, swapping compliments. But I know women enough to know and read between the lines. Listen, I have a wife and 2 daughters. I know how to read between the lines when it comes to women. So
yeah, this was bitching.
This was bitching. Yeah, just very nice bitching, shall we say?
That's it.
I've picked up a thing or two during being surrounded by very powerful and strong women. So there you are. So, as we also had Orton backstage, the next stage of it's have Kane backstage with the Authority. And Kane says that he doesn't trust Orton, funny enough. Steph says that they have to work with a lot of people they don't like. I'm sure they do, like Damien Sandow, for one. Yeah,
that's it.
Probably one person they don't like. JR said on his podcast as well that he doesn't understand what people are saying about Sandow, that he doesn't believe that people in WWE are upset with Sandow. That being on TV doesn't matter. Not being on TV overdoes. Yeah, if you're in the shit street, then you wouldn't be on TV. I heavily disagree with the guy. I really do.
Drew McIntyre was on TV.
Yes, there you are. Sure, Damien Sandow's on TV every week, but his credibility has been put to decent to annihilated, I think is probably the word. He doesn't have any credibility anymore. It's not as if he can sign with another company and shake those cobwebs off. The generic wrestling fans thinks he's a joke, and he'll always be that way now. So, I disagree with JR. Personally, I think Sandow wants if his contract or WWE decide to release him, I think it's very hard for him to continue. You have to go to the Indies and rebuild up that competitor status, because wrestling, the generic wrestling fan is going to look at him and be, oh, you're that guy who came out dressed as things, aren't you? You really hard to shake that stigma that comes.
You're Magneto.
Yeah. Maybe he just needs to Bo leave in his career. This leads us to the inspirational Bo Dallas. He gives an open challenge. He says that even though he beat El Torito last week and he was the biggest little man in WWE, he still had a huge heart.
The biggest little man in WWE. That just hearing that kind of angered me. Because I was like, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that used to be the marker they used for Rey Mysterio. So yeah, there's a funny thing, right? That he says, okay, and I'm going to face someone just as big heart as him. Great Khali comes out. There's a laugh that comes out. I caught this. I don't know if anyone else caught this. I don't know. Right? Considering that just prior to this match, Stephanie was on a segment, right? But there's a laugh that happens just as Khali comes out. Literally, just the moment that Khali comes out, and it sounds exactly like her. So I'm guessing someone left their mic on. Honestly, go back and listen to it. I caught it. I was like, wait, okay. Either Michael Cole has had his nuts crushed off and suddenly he's talking really with a really high voice, or that's a woman. And
I assumed that to have just been Bo Dallas.
No, I don't know. I don't think it was. It sounded like to me like Steph. Go back and listen to it and think of it. You can understand why I thought it was that.
Yeah.
And considering that she was in a segment, maybe they just didn't cut off her mic off, and that's what it was. Anyway, so Bo against Great Khali. Bo gets the win. He Bo dogs Khali outside the ring and then gets a count-out victory. So the streak lives on.
That's it. He's now 15 and Bo.
15 and Bo. He does a victory lap. I desperately wanted him to accidentally kick Khali. Like, as Khali's like on the ground getting up and then suddenly he kicks him by accident or something. And much like he knocked over Torito last week. But instead he stops and checks to see if he's alright, and then Khali slaps him, chops him.
Head chopped for his problems.
That's it. But the streak lives on. Matt, you must Bo leave after this.
I don't Bo leave.
15 and Bo, Matt. 15 and Bo!
Do not Bo leave.
No Bo leave.
Nope.
You still have to admit that he's doing a lot better than Adam Rose is, shall we say? So
yeah, that's fine.
Maybe you can Bo leave that. Yes.
I will Bo leave that he's doing better. But
yeah.
I'm not a Bo leaver.
Not a Bo leaver.
Not a Rosebud.
Okay. So moving on. They obviously did another spot for a WWE Network special. It was the best of WCW Nitro, a show I haven't seen. Funny enough, that they're putting up on there. I wouldn't have mind watching personally, but still, WWE hasn't launched here, so not really much I can do. There you are. WWE, you've lost money out because I would have seen that. I would have purchased the network for it. JR. One thing that JR did notice on his did say on his podcast is that they're losing a lot of money not getting this immediately rolled out to international audiences, the network, and I fully agree with him. That is money that they could have in their pocket, but they don't. So there you go. WWE's issue. They decided to do it this way, and there you go. They're losing out money. But anyway. So yeah, best of WCW Nitro. For people that actually don't know, I actually watched way more Nitro when I first started watching wrestling than I did WWE. So there you are. I think from like 1995.
That's probably why Sting sits so much stronger for you than it does for me.
Yes. I think from 95 to 2000. I was watching WCW pretty much regularly. I was watching WWE, of course, as well. But I was huge into Sting. Goldberg was huge at that time. And then obviously around about that time, 99 to 2001, is where the company decided to implode. So it wasn't soon after that even a little kid like me who didn't really expect much from wrestling decided to hop over because everything was getting really stupid. So there you are. Plus, obviously, 2001, the company dissolved, so there wasn't exactly much I missed from skipping over at that point. But anyway, so that would have been something I really would like to watch, and hopefully they still have something like that up when the network does roll over here. So Rollins, as the third member of the Authority, he says that he'll mop up the mess if Orton and Kane can't get the job done because he's money in the bank. As he goes off, Heyman makes an appearance. Even though on commentary earlier on they were saying, oh, we thought that Heyman has been fired or he's left the company. Obviously not, because he's there. They tell him
just typical JR bullshit.
Yeah.
Or JR King bullshit.
King BS, yeah. Who lies to himself on commentary often.
That's it.
Yeah. You got to be some sort of special sort of bad in commentary when you know that you're lying to yourself, sort of thing. It's really bad. But anyway, so Heyman tells them, I like your plan B. He's good, but if you need a foolproof plan C, he's the man to talk to. And we know what he's talking about. He's talking about Brock Lesnar.
That's it.
Coming back to win the title at SummerSlam, which if all goes to plan, that seems how it's going to go. So, and I firmly believe that he will. But there we are. Flow Rider is announced for next week. Brilliant stuff. I needed a toilet break, so awesome.
Woo! I don't care.
Yeah. I'm glad when WWE do this typically bad sections, so I know exactly when to take my piss break. Good stuff. Thank you, WWE. Don't have to catch Flow Rider at all. Awesome.
Nope.
And by the way, I have WWE liked on Facebook just so you can catch some of their stuff. I wouldn't be a good podcaster if I wasn't at least, doing the initial research stuff on them. And literally all of the comments on the when they announced that Flow Rider was going to be on next week was, this is shit. I do not want to see him. I know when to take my toilet break. I don't know what to do. All this other stuff. They really didn't care. So
yeah, not at all.
There you go.
But the thing is, they were so happy. It's like, we've got Flow Rider! And all the fans just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I don't expect he'll get a good response either, to be honest. But we'll see. Renee Young brings out Ric Flair, who from now on, is fully active on the roster. He was at a bunch of live events, and he was taking bumps at these live events, no less. So he's been cleared medically. He is at a lot of the live events. I expect him to be on Raw a lot more going forward.
Busted open Wyatt.
Yeah, maybe that Jacket versus Flair match could happen after all. I'm sure that Jacket has got a lot of elbow drops to give back to Flair.
After the last time he was around, Jesus.
I don't know if you noticed this though, but Flair was looking at Renee as if he wouldn't mind adding her to the newest addition to his marriage and divorce list.
Yeah, that was so true.
So
sweet Renee, get away, Rich.
Yeah. I know you're angling here. You're dipping your feet in the water. I don't think it's going to work.
That's it. You're trying to woo her.
There you go. That's it. So Renee Young tells him, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win this weekend? He says that John Cena will win. And, can't really go wrong. Cena does certainly have a good track record, but he got booed for saying that, so there you are. Roman Reigns comes down, and he shakes Flair's hand, and Flair leaves. I personally would have liked him to grab the mic and tell him, Flair, I respect you, but you're damn wrong. I'm going to win the belt. That's what I would have liked to have done. I'm guessing you're exactly the same on this week.
Completely. Yeah. Do you know the one thing I noticed from this week as opposed to last week?
Go on.
Flair got to leave with his music.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Unlike Brett last week.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's like, no, you get to walk away for Sheamus.
Well, we all know that Ric Flair's good buddies with Triple H, and we all know what Bret Hart thinks of Triple H, 4 out of 10, so maybe that plays into it a little bit. To be honest, Flair's got much more chance of being introduced more prevalent than Bret Hart will going forward. There is no love lost between Triple H and Hart, going forward.
Yeah.
Regardless of their feelings to each other, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, I didn't like the way that Reigns was just like, he doesn't have to be like Cena. He doesn't have to respect people no matter what they think. He could easily say, okay, I respect you, but you're damn wrong. you're wrong, Flair. You know, I'm going to win the belt this weekend, and you're looking at the next champion. Instead, he just shook his hand and just let him go. I just thought that was a little bit. Not that I want him to be exactly like this man that I'm going to talk about now, but would Stone Cold have shaken Ric Flair's hand, or any man who bet against him?
No.
He wouldn't have. Now, I don't think that Reigns needs to be nearly as aggressive and F you to everyone as Austin was, but still, I think that's the way I would have booked it, personally. There we are.
Yeah. Do you know the whole thing during this segment, I was like, I think Flair's been drinking. He just had that little extra of just crazy to him.
He did, and there's sometimes where you think that he's a little bit all over the place, but I'm just going to put that down to Flair being Flair. I guess, you know, Flair now, he's going to be that way. I mean, if he's going to drink, at least I don't think I don't know if he was drunk.
Oh no, I wouldn't say he's drunk.
No,
he had been drinking. Well, just like
he was
like,
loose.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. He was all out, shall we say. But he was alright. He was
looked
entertaining.
like a drunk dad at a wedding.
That's it, yeah. You'll always get that woo pop, no matter what he does. He could be 100 years old, in a wheelchair, unable to speak. He could tap that thing into a computer.
He might not be able to even say the word woo, but they'll cheer for him.
Exactly.
With a woo.
He can bring out a sign that's on his lap when he's paralysed, unable to move. A vegetable, just saying woo, and he would get a woo pop. So there you go. That's Ric Flair for you. He's fine. But yeah, you can expect him to be involved a little bit more. Not obviously every week, but more. And if you catch a live show, there's a good chance he could be there, at least for the next couple of weeks. So
tell you what, hopefully he doesn't side with Miz.
Yeah,
the last time he was
moneymaker. Well, Flair does need a bit of money making, so there we are.
He just have a chat with his daughter.
Yeah, there we are. Who has really impressed, shall we say, Charlotte, since she came in. But there you go. You've got the listen for all the stuff. I may not like Flair sometimes. He can be a bit of a dick. It just comes with the territory. The guy is got a God-gifted talent to wrestle. He's one of the best of all time. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. If you're his kin, you've got something special in your blood. There's no going around that. So she has improved so well. I'm very, very impressed by her ability to want to get better. That's the difference between Eva Marie and Charlotte. Obviously, one's on NXT, one's on the main roster. But Charlotte, you can tell, she wants to be a good wrestler. She came in, maybe obviously off the coattails of her father having the name.
Originally
maybe.
She came in sort of like how she didn't even want to be compared to her dad.
Yes, but
it's like, I'm a Flair, but that doesn't count for anything.
Yeah. But I would say now that she's that match with Natalya will go down as one of the best of the year, no doubt. So.
In fact, it's currently.
Oh, have you got a list up?
4th or 5th? Well, it's like they've released their top 10 of the year so far.
Oh, okay.
And I know two NXT takeover matches were in it. Sami Zayn and Cesaro, and Natalya and Charlotte.
Yeah, and I agree. I thought their match was spectacular. It really was. But there's a difference. Eva Marie, she doesn't want to get better. She wants to be the model. She wants to do these shoots. She wants to do the extras. She wants to be on TV. She wants to be a manager. She doesn't want to wrestle.
Sit in front of a screen and say other people's lines because apparently it's sexy.
Yeah, that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want to take bumps. She doesn't want to have 5-star matches, and there's the difference. So Charlotte has improved more in 1 year than Eva Marie will ever do in her entire career. The way that she's going at the moment. So there is that. Going on, as Matt is trying to find out what they've actually got that in the list. So in the actual match, so Cena and Reigns, because Ambrose was taken out earlier on, there was no run-in from Reigns. So Kane, Orton, and Rollins on the opposing side. On the way out, this is interesting. Cena didn't have both the title straps around as usual. He had the big gold WCW belt, the heavyweight title, and he gave it to Flair and said, "You look after that for me." And Flair went off with the belt, and then Cena only had the WWE title. I don't think they're going to change the name of the titles. They're going to call it the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But I firmly believe that big gold belt will not be carried around anymore. It's going to be that WWE title that's going to be the belt now.
Yeah.
I know WWE don't like it when they're carrying around 2 belts all of the time. And I know it must be a little bit cumbersome, shall we say, to carry both those belts around all the time. But still, yeah, they're gonna revert back to the single title, which I agree with. I think that's fine. But I don't.
Two titles is a bit much.
Yeah. So talking about this main event, it was alright. It was okay. It was about as good a length as you're going to get out of this match without it getting too long. much left of this show by the time the match started, so I knew it wasn't going to be going on for too long. Reigns and Cena, they were working in tandem, so all that stuff, and obviously the other team were working relatively in tandem. And then as Reigns is starting to get the upper hand, the Authority decides, you know what, we're just going to beat the shit out of you, so they get DQ'd. Brawler ups where Reigns accidentally spears Cena. Orton RKO's Kane, celebrates as if he's the top guy, his music plays, then Reigns decides to spear him, and then that's it. He closes out the show on top. For the second week in a row, no less, because I do count last week, even though he was having his hand raised by John Cena and having that little back and forth, I do count that as Reigns ending up on top. So it does look as if Reigns is the man of the month, shall we say, and he is on the rise. But whether or not that will lead to a title match, we'll talk about that with our predictions, which aren't too far away. But what do you think of the show as a whole? As a go-home show for Battleground, did it amp you up? Did it make you want to buy the event anymore?
No more than originally.
Yeah, I think it was roughly the same. I don't think it was a exceptional show by any means. There were shows throughout the week that got me more infused with this pay-per-view more than this one did, which it shouldn't be that way, but
yeah,
still, some decent enough matches, good segments. The Sting stuff, which left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, but I do firmly believe that will get rectified. And yeah, there was a few big talking points. I would put the hottest segment down to Rusev and Swagger. I think that was the hottest segment of the night. I don't think anything else got up near to that level. It was very interesting. That was the most interested I was throughout the show. Obviously, until the Sting bit came along, but we all know how that played out. So.
Oh yeah, totally.
So we'll move on to
top 10.
Yeah, go on. Did you find it?
I found it.
Yeah.
So number 10 was Barrett versus Ziggler for the IC title.
Brilliant match, yeah.
June 23rd, so it was only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, brilliant match. I remember it. Very good.
Yep. Stupid WWE webpage.
Your WWE.com webpage not working for you.
Oh, it's such a poorly made website.
One thing I did notice actually for when doing research on the website is that it has a horrendous search function. It really does.
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan. So yeah, in the top 10. So Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good match.
It was a good match. So the
wasn't
WWE,
his best of the year, I will say, but I wonder if that's on it. But go on.
The WWE World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, it was right.
Orton, Bryan, Cena, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Christian.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I think it was okay. The problem with that, though, is that the ending of that match was a really sour taste, the way they ended it.
Yeah. Cena, Cesaro.
Yes. Oh, that match was brilliant.
17th.
That match was awesome. I do remember that match. One of the best matches Cena's had in a while.
That's it.
That was the match that really started getting Cesaro over as a face.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously then they decided to go the other way. But go on.
Brian Wyatt at Rumble.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I thought would be his best.
That's it, definitely.
That was better than the Triple H one, in my opinion.
Yeah, completely. Shield Evolution No Holds Barred Elimination match at number 5.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. You've got matches like this. Number 4.
Go on.
Sami Zayn Cesaro at NXT Arrival.
Yeah. Deserves to be on that list.
That was an amazing match to be.
That was better. That was good. And it was better than Cesaro's match with Cena. So
yeah,
there is that.
So the Triple Threat WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania.
Okay. I disagree. I don't think the match was spectacular by any means, but go on.
I completely disagree with that as well.
It was a good match and it did what it was meant to.
The Triple H one was better.
Yeah.
Natalya Charlotte NXT Women's Championship match at TakeOver.
What number is it?
2.
Oh yeah. I think it was brilliant. I really do. I'm interested to see what number 1 is.
Shield Wyatt's elimination.
In terms of build up, I would say yes, but it matters what you mean.
Dude, this is the one that we watched together.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a good match. I can't get out of that.
You and me were like kids.
Yeah, we were. It's been a long time since I felt that way as well. So there you are. Yeah, no, not bad. The title match at Mania though, I disagree.
But, the Triple Threat match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with that as well. But
yeah, it's not too bad though. Good start of the year when it's look at matches to look back on. I would recommend all of them. Even the title match, just for the ending of it, because it was interesting. So, Battleground predictions anyway. I've actually got it this week. Normally Matt has the list up, but I've got it here this week. Just to change
Your
things up a little
turn.
bit. My turn. So Cameron and Naomi is the pre-show. Sorry to bring that up. Yeah, as much as I dislike it, I think Cameron will win. The reason being,
I don't care.
yeah, I don't really care either. The reason why I think it is because she teamed with Alicia Fox. I can see like Fox probably getting involved, costing Naomi the match. I see WWE. They don't want Cameron just to get beaten all the time. I think they're going to have Naomi win. Cameron win this match, and maybe lead on to a match on Raw where Naomi gets the win over her or something. I think that's probably the way they'll do it. But I mean, in terms of pre-show, I mean, this is exactly selling the network very, very well, isn't it? Cameron against Naomi. So, who do you think's going to win?
Don't care.
You have to give a prediction.
I don't care.
You just don't want to give a prediction, just to take a stand against it all.
Just don't care.
Okay.
Naomi, sod it.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the ones with talent.
That's it. Dean Ambrose against Seth Rollins.
Ooh.
Tough one to call.
Ooh.
I go for Ambrose. Reason being, I think he needs it more. I think Rollins has the briefcase. There we go. There's the reason why I'm saying it. But
and to be perfectly honest, holding the briefcase does dump you with a stigma.
Yes, it does.
You always lose when you hold it.
Yeah. I think Ambrose has been beaten up so badly the last couple of weeks. I think he needs this win and to capitalize on it. I would be very shocked if Rollins wins and he does so in a decisive fashion. If it's clean, against Ambrose, I'd be very shocked if that was the case. So, is that what you're going for, Ambrose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going for Ambrose. Jericho and Bray Wyatt. Now, everyone is going to say Bray Wyatt, obviously. I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility that Jericho wins this and then he loses to Wyatt at SummerSlam. So,
okay, yeah,
I'm actually going for a Jericho win. Controversial, I know. I do firmly believe that Jericho will win this because, I mean, you can't have the guy keep coming back and losing matches. He comes back, gets a win, and then Wyatt decimates him at SummerSlam. That's how I see it going. But how do you think it's going to go?
You raise a fair argument.
Yeah.
But
in the same case, Jericho does do the jobs for people.
He does the jobs for people on the big ones.
Mm. Could easily be a no contest as well.
Yeah. I reckon it will be a Jericho win, but it'll only be because the Wyatt family will get involved.
Okay, no problem. I do think it's Jericho. I think Jericho will get the win.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not completely out of their own possibility. This will be a beatdown finish, and then Wyatt has to, or maybe Wyatt's close to losing, and then the Wyatts get involved. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Swagger against Rusev. I think this one's a little bit easier. You go for Rusev.
Yeah.
What's your reasoning?
I just don't think it's time yet. But to be perfectly honest, I think Rusev's a really awkward one because they've built him up to be the super athlete and this amazing powerhouse, and they've put him against some people. And like Big E was a close competitor and things like that, but it's still been a bit
Yeah.
the whole of his career so far.
He hasn't been tested. That match against Big E was the first one where he started to sell properly. I firmly believe though that there is a payoff here with Rusev, but it isn't for Swagger.
Okay.
I think it's for Roman Reigns, but
Reigns.
I think it's Reigns that will get that girl. They'll get the big send off. Now because you've got about 6 months. If all goes to plan, Cena will win here. He'll go and lose against Lesnar at SummerSlam. This gives a lot of time until Reigns can win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania to win the belt. So you've got to have a storyline that gets him big at that time. I think Reigns against Rusev is something that you could do. Very easy, fills that time, and it gives Reigns that big boost afterwards. But regardless of that, I just don't think that Swagger is the guy that they want to give this big win to. So, yeah, I go Rusev as well.
Yeah.
Divas title, AJ against Paige. The rematch. What's your thoughts?
AJ retains.
Yeah. too early to take the belt off her. It really is. Just got it back. I do firmly believe this is where Paige is going to go uber heel. And this will be... She might lose, and then Paige loses her shit and then attacks AJ after the match.
Yeah. If this is the proper, like, the true anti-diva, the coming of sort of thing,
yeah,
I'm happy with it.
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, Paige winning the belt back will do nothing for her at this point. We've obviously know her first title reign was a very weak title reign, but her going heel and making a real this is just a match just to keep them ticking over. They want the heel Paige against the face AJ at SummerSlam. I firmly believe that, and this is the match to set that up. So that's okay.
Totally. Yeah.
AJ to win, and then Paige goes so mental, she gets such a thorn in AJ's side that they have to wrestle each other again at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Intercontinental title Battle Royal. 20 men. I think it's between two of them. I think, personally, it's between Sheamus or Cesaro. Sheamus, because if they want to unify the belts, you can do that. However, I think with Cesaro, the way they've been dicking him recently, I think Cesaro gets the win and is your new IC champion. What's your thoughts with that?
I can go with that. Nobody else in it, because I just don't see it happening for anyone.
There is a lot of people
in
this.
Sin Cara.
There's a lot of people
Slater.
in this
Titus
match.
O'Neil.
Yeah. Titus O'Neil. There's a lot of people in this match that have literally 0% chance of winning that match. They win that match. It's going to be a very small hand, and to me, it can only be Sheamus or Cesaro. But I'm just going with Cesaro. So there we are.
Yeah, Cesaro.
Exactly. And if they do unify the belts, why not have Cesaro against Sheamus at SummerSlam? If that's their real call, I think that would be a better match than just to unify it in a Battle Royal, personally. But there we are. Tag titles, best of 3 falls, the Usos against the Wyatts. Wyatts to win the belts tonight on that show. I firmly believe the reason why they do that is because they're going to have the 3-match program with these guys, and the way to get that easily done is have Wyatts win the second one, then retain on the third. And the third is obviously going to be their last match, which will be at SummerSlam, and where the Usos try and get the belts back. That's the way I see it going. It writes itself, it really does. But man, if the Wyatts lose again, I don't really know what they're doing personally. But there we are. WWE title, the final match, the main event: Orton, Reigns, Kane, and Cena. Considering that news that came out earlier on, you could make a strong case against Cena. I still firmly believe that Cena will win.
Yeah. Firmly believe that
he'll win. The idea that they're going to pull the trigger on Reigns now and give him the belt, it's too early. It really is too early for Reigns. I also don't like the fact that he'll lose another title opportunity. Ryback had so many of those, and we see what happened to him. But yeah, you can't really bet against Cena, really. It's very rarely that you would make a prediction against Cena to win the belt, really, to be honest. But yeah, the plan is Cena to win. He'll lose against Brock next month, and then Reigns will eventually face Brock and win the title off him months and months down the line. But we'll see how that goes. In regards to that, are you under the same thought? Cena to win?
Yeah, completely.
Cena wins, lol.
What a shock!
What a shock!
To be perfectly honest, it's too soon to take the title away from him, because then we start running the risk of him actually becoming a 16-time.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. He's already the most decorated champion. You can't get much more than that. So, well, you could. WWE definitely sure want him to. And for all the people that think that Cena will be gone in a couple of years, no, I heavily doubt it. WWE will put this guy in genetic mutation to keep him in wrestling as long as they can, if they could. They want this guy to wrestle until he's bones and dust. I think that's probably the best way to say it.
Yep.
But talking of bones and dust, this show is definitely not bones and dust. You guys have been helping us big time in regards to the show. We're really happy for that. If you're new to the podcast, why not subscribe and follow us at Talk Wrestle Pod when any of the extra ones are done throughout the week. We also do a gaming podcast. The reason why I bring that up, one is obviously if you're into games, you can check it out. But also because we do that normally where we will record our pay-per-view review. So I'm not entirely sure when we're going to get that pay-per-view review up, or even it's not guaranteed you get it every week, but we've done pretty well. But if you don't get one, that's the reason why. So we'll still obviously reference that. We'll try and get it done though when we're out. I'm sure we'll find some time next week.
I think it's safe to say we've got to at least try.
We've got to try.
I mean, I've definitely got 3 days off next week.
Well, in which case it'll get done. I can guarantee you that fact. Then that's fine. where we get it done in the middle of the day rather than at night. But it's almost 11 o'clock where we are now. We have podcasted ourselves out to you. We hope you guys did enjoy it. If you want to leave any messages, any questions that you'd like to be featured on the podcast, then why not leave it to us? And like I said, you can Twitter us as well. Or tweet us is the right word, isn't it? I'm so out of whack with this stuff.
Yeah, because it's a tweet.
Tweet us, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I do tweets sometimes. I barely ever use Twitter, so you're more into that side than I am. But we are done for this week, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our predictions there. Leave your predictions in the comments as well. We'd like to hear what you think in regards to that. Any topics that you would like. And as you said before, you guys are really supporting us really, really well. We are well ahead of where we thought we should be as a podcast. We're still relatively young as a podcast, 34 episodes in, and we're doing really, really well. So we'd like to thank you guys for that. But apart from that, we are out. I think we're done.
So it's over.
It's over. No, well, the podcast isn't over. Just this one. This makes it sound so final.
That was actually. It's, like,
it's done.
It. No
Sorry,
more.
last episode. Nah. We'll be back next week to cover Raw and the build up to SummerSlam, and obviously we'll be watching Battleground. And we hope you guys do enjoy the events. As we said before, we always do. I hope that you enjoy every single event that you watch with them. And we hope you enjoyed this show as well. I'm going around in circles. Here we are. Moneymaker. Comment saying Moneymaker. Why not? Do that. Just to give us a laugh. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll catch you again next week.
See you soon.
Bye bye.